Did you know that Ingles sells more organics than any other store? Or that they run their own dairy? Or that they only serve USDA choice and prime meat? Did you know that they have more local craft beer than any place else? Or that they have Energy Smart stores? Or that they professionally slice and package imported cheese from Europe? Did you know about their giant international aisle, local farm partnerships, curbside pickup, wine department? Or that they donate 3,956 meals a day to local food banks? Well, now you do. It's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Welcome into the Gramlich and McLean podcast, presented by Ingles, the official supermarket of Gramlich and McLean. Miami does it. They win in the first round of the college football playoff in a barn burner, 10-3. Number 10 Miami defeats number 7 Texas A&M 10-3. There is so much to get into with this game, Mac. Of course, massive win for Miami, massive win for the ACC. But let's start with you being there. The huddle was sick. Yeah. You guys had like every big name possible on the show. How was that, Mac?
It was incredible, KG. First of all, I love that you're wearing your Miami Hurricane blazer today. It looks fantastic.
Mac, wait, I have to tell you this.
Orange background. You're hurricaned as it gets.
Well, I'm dressed like this. I'm about to do a game at Clemson, and so it's kind of a holiday vibe. And when I did the game at UNC a couple weeks ago when we recorded after Miami made the playoff, I had also a green blazer, and someone said it looks like Kelly was just in church praying for the Canes, so that made me laugh, but continued.
I can confirm that we were praying for the Canes to get in, and it worked. And here they are marching their way to the quarterfinals, but it was really, really fun. I've been to College Station before, back in 2018 when Clemson played there, and that was the Trevor Lawrence coming out party. So I was familiar with it. I knew it was going to be, tough. That environment is one of the best, in all of college football. It is huge. 100, I think it was 6 maybe is what they reported, the second largest crowd ever, at a college football playoff game. I think Penn State maybe holds the record for last year. So it lived up to every single ounce of what, we kind of thought, what I remembered, what I expected, and was really, really great. I mean, atmosphere, big shout out to the 12th man. Just that pageantry, and we need to figure out how to harness more of that, and we also we need to reward the higher ranked teams. Like the fact that 1 through 4 does not get a home game makes no sense. So we need to figure that out. I don't know if it's bowl games first and then back to home sites. I don't know, but
you'd rather have the bye, right, Mac? Like the bye is so important.
You have the bye, but like if I'm Georgia or Clemson or Ohio State, like I'd rather play at home for a game,
And all the money coming into your town, your city at that point too.
Yeah, just that economic boost that you get, I don't know how the rev share works with tickets and stuff, but I feel like you keep all that money. So I just think that reward is nice, for those teams. But it was really cool. College Station was great. A lot of Hurricanes, a lot of our guys, people that you and I know very well, D Money and the crew, of course, Cam was out there, everybody. So it was really, really fun. And, the Hurricanes have embraced us, KG. We are honorary Canes, and they love us, and it was super fun just to hang out with all of them, and then the game kicked off, and I will not say that I expected it to be 10-3 at all, but I did expect it to be a very even battle. And I'll tell you probably the reason it was 10-3 and maybe not a little bit more, the wind was horrible. I mean, I don't know if you could tell on TV, it was like 20 plus mile an hour winds. I mean, we saw Carson throw and that ball just takes off. Those guys kicking, it just blows, to the right, to the left. And you're just like, how do you guess? You have no idea. And it would change. Like it felt like 2 seconds, and you're from Texas. I'm explaining something you know very well. It just changed throughout the game, where it was blowing from, when and why and how. And so that was really, really difficult. But overall, unbelievable atmosphere, unbelievable game, highs, lows, everything in between, star players being stars. Really, really cool. And the show was so much fun. Rhett Lashley was a guest analyst.
He was really good.
It was cool.
Rhett's coming for all of our jobs. He was fantastic on TV. You guys I just feel like the huddle's been on a different level this year. I've told you that. And I think anybody who watches knows it's been fantastic. And shout out to ACC Network for really investing in the show and getting the reward for it. Now heading on to the Cotton Bowl. So we're going to have a lot more Miami, Ohio State stuff coming for you after Christmas. But just specifically with this game, Mac, you mentioned the wind. I think the wind was definitely a factor, but it was also kind of just a slobber knocker of a game. Like it was really physical. And in the end, we talked about not necessarily which quarterback would make the most plays, but which quarterback would not make the mistakes. And Carson Beck was able to do that. He didn't make the mistakes. Marcell Reid with the 2 picks was obviously, a big issue. So what did you think overall of this offense and how Carson Beck looked? It was a slower start. Mark Fletcher obviously was a monster. Malachi Toney saved the day, even though he had the fumble, but then he had the touchdown. So that was just a classic college football situation there. But what did you think of Miami's offense overall? Because the defense was just ridiculous, and we'll get to that.
Yeah, we will, because it was special. It was really special to see those guys. Offense, this is what we wanted, right? We wanted them to run the football. Now, again, we did not know the win would be such a factor. I did not sit here and think, that Carson would be 14 of 20 and only have 100 yards. And his touchdown was a pop pass. It's not like he ripped it, into the end zone. So I did not expect that, but I did expect him to manage the game. I did expect him to not make the silly mistake. And some people listening be like, well, how could you expect that? He had the season he had a year ago. He's had some turnover-prone games. I just expected him to take it to another level. I expected to see what I did for the last month from him, which was really clean football, winning football. And, you and I, KG, have dissected the term game manager a lot on this show. Like you and I have used it negatively, have used it positively. And for Carson Beck, it is a positive thing because you take care of the football. Your goal and your job as the quarterback is to win the game, whatever that is. Sometimes that takes being a Cam Ward. Sometimes that takes being a Tom Brady, where you're just dinking and dumping and making sure you're not turning over the ball like Carson Beck was doing in this game. And so he protected it. Coach Mario Cristobal said he came over to the sideline kind of when they were making some adjustments, specifically in the second half, and said, we can gash these guys. Let's run the football. And that's exactly what they did. And it was a bit of a war. It felt like 2 heavyweights, right? Just like, not that they were timid, but they were just like figuring each other out. They're like, okay, who's going to slip up and when can we take our shot? And there was some self-inflicted. I'm going to be a little bit negative here in a second, but I'm going to get to the positive first. Where Miami was kind of hurting themselves from a play calling standpoint. But once they figured it out, I mean, Mark Fletcher had 167 yards in the second half. He had a career high day, 172 yards on the ground. And again, 160 of that coming in the second half, averaged 10 yards a rush. He was so good. And we talked to him after the game, KG, and as humble as can be, as kind as can be, talking about his late father, all the amazing, how great of a teammate he is to Malachi Toney, how great of a teammate Malachi Toney is to everybody. And just everything he said, was just, nothing was about him. He literally had a career day, was the MVP of the game, and he only talked about everybody else.
That's him. That's how he's been when he comes on our show. The stuff, Mac, I know we talked about this on our show, but of course his father passed, who was a huge role model for him. The fact that he still texts his dad, where he is on a game day and where he's about to play is just special. I mean, him and Malachi Toney, some of these just incredible stories in college football that, if you don't know what these guys have gone through, and especially the Miami connection, then you're really missing out because it's special.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And it was just so fun to see that. And again, mentioning Malachi, having a good game, like a solid game, having a huge punt return that could have and should have.
And he tripped on his own foot.
I know he just got his little shoelace clipped, and that would have broke it open. And then the fumble, like a big conversion, a big catch. We got momentum, and then a really good play by A&M, just ripping that ball out. And he puts his head down for a second, and the whole team, KG, I don't know if you could see it on TV. It was just like they embraced him right there and you're good. We got your back. We know you're the greatest player. We're coming right back to you. It's get ready. It's going to happen. And for him to have that game sealing, essentially, touchdown there on the end around, where it was kind of funny. I don't necessarily think Miami wanted to score right there. I think they were just trying to pick up the first down because it was 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6. So you didn't feel like you could just run kind of a duo or power. They were just trying to get the first down. Malachi turns the edge. He's like, well, might as well go ahead and get in here. Might as well reserve this for 6 real quick. And such a great player. And a couple of Canes fans, I do want to let you know this before you want to get in here. I heard it's no longer College Station. It is now Mally Station. That's what it is referred to. So that's his house, just like Tallahassee is his house. Now it's Mally Station.
Understood.
So he's investing well with NIL. He's collecting property all around America. It's really good.
get some cattle farming land around there. Mac
Not a
has
bad
a friend,
idea.
perhaps, that
That's right.
is in that business. But Mac, it seems in the end Miami did just enough. Obviously, you missed a lot of field goals too. You settled for field goals in the red zone, but you would, like, in a normal world where you didn't have all the wind, it felt like you would have had a
Mhm.
little more of a cushion and didn't need that late score if your defense continues to do what they were doing. Now that defense, Mac,
Hold
7
on.
sacks.
I gotta
Oh,
be
go ahead.
negative first. I gotta be
Oh
negative. I'm
yeah, oh yeah.
sorry.
You want to get your
Gotta be
negative in.
negative.
So
Just a
Miami fans,
little.
I didn't want to let him do it, but he
I
wants to.
know.
He wants to.
I know. I'm sorry
Let him
because
enjoy the dub.
you should, but I think we're all real. We're all real
And then
here.
you're playing
It's
Ohio
not
State
all,
next. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
you're playing
fair.
Ohio
That's
State
fair.
next. It's not all sunshine and
That's
rainbows.
fair, Mac.
And I'm
That's
going to
fair.
finish positively. And I'm sorry I'm doing most of the talking here.
Do it.
There was there were so many trick plays and tricky gimmicky
Gotcha.
things that didn't need to be ran, that did not need to be called. And what was interesting to me is, and the timing of them was horrific.
Oh.
Listen, I love Shannon Dawson, love him. Think he's very smart. Think he's very good. But I do feel like sometimes we can get in our own way because we're good at something, or maybe we think we have something when other things are like, you don't need to call it. You don't need to call it. Your defense is playing great. We don't need a big spark. Let's just go. Let's just methodically march down the field. You're averaging 6-7 yards a carry. Like, we don't need to do any of this right now. And so that's where it was like gutting to me, because we have this big long punt return, and then we're trying to double reverse, and we have a big conversion, and we're trying to throw it. Mally's trying to throw it down the field, and I get it. It has worked. And even walking off, I believe it was right at halftime, or maybe early. No, it had to be late second quarter or halftime. And I see D Money and some others. I'm like, can we please just run the ball? Like, what? Stop. Like, what are we doing? And they kind of said, well, we've done this all year. It's kind of what we do. And I said, I get that, but you don't need to. And then this is where it gets positive. So I hated all that. I just want to say, like, I was mad about it, like, to be honest. And I'm a hurricane, but I'm not a hurricane. So I shouldn't have been as emotionally invested as I was, but I was. And it was annoying. And me, Jimbo Fisher, Rhett Lashley, Eddie Taylor, we're all sitting there, and every time it happens, we're just like, why? We're fuming on the sideline. Like, it makes no sense. And those are two really good offensive-minded guys, and a guy and two guys that played offense. So anyway, but then the second half happens, and they flip it, and they run the football. And so this is the positive I'm going to end on, and we can get to defense. I think that as much as we talk about players gaining confidence and they can do this and that, I think the Miami coaching staff gained a crap ton of confidence from this game, that we can line up and we can run the football and we can just execute, and we can have a suffocating defense that has our back. We don't need to be gimmicky. We don't need to do this and that. So I think there's a big confidence shot booster to Shannon Dawson in this offense that, again, I think we're going to see the best version of this offense keep happening. I have compared this Miami team to Ohio State of a year ago, a bunch. 2 years ago, excuse me. Last year when they won the national championship. That's what I thought. I think they can be that. And the good thing is we're going to find out against Ohio State in this next round.
I like how you set that up, Mac. And I agree. The second half was just light years different in terms of how Miami ran the football, but also ran their offense. So I hear you on that. And like you said, Ohio State's coming down the line, and you're not going to score 10 and beat Ohio State. Like, I don't think that's possible. But this Miami defense did look electric. 7 sacks, 9 tackles for loss. Rueben Bain, when you say stuff about Rueben Bain, honestly, you just shouldn't. He had 3 sacks, 4 tackles for loss, blocked field goal. Dude was ridiculous. And then a guy that we talked about all week, and we talked about him a lot with D-Money, will he play? Keontae Scott was so important. 10 tackles, 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss. He was exceptional, and so glad that he played. I mean, every Miami fan very happy about that. So this defense was dominant. I don't think there's any other way to describe it. They forced turnovers. They were able to get after the passer. They didn't let up. I think it can be tough, Mac. You and I talked about this. When your offense isn't doing anything, that defensively you can get frustrated, but they didn't. And I think a lot of it just started with big Rueben Bain, Eric McLean.
No, it absolutely did. And, it was interesting because you try to get a feel like pregame. Like, that's one of my favorite things. And actually what's interesting is some folks on our crew, because we had like a Remy almost, and you know what that means. Other people might not. So we had a different crew that's there when we have kind of different production style. It's not a big truck. It's done differently. And so they kind of asked me, they're with us all the time and we love those guys. They kind of asked me, why do you go out so early? Like, why are you walking around doing stuff? Well, I like to see the players warm up. I like to see their eyes. I want to see their demeanor. Are they joking around? Are they serious? Are they too serious? Are they, doing their process? What do they do? And I like to kind of look into people's eyes, and I have never seen a more locked in person than Rueben Bain. Like, it was to the point, like, me, KG, I'm the mayor everywhere I go. I hug and dap everybody up. It's not that I'm not trying to be weird. I wasn't like afraid of him, but he was so locked in. I didn't want to interrupt any of it. Like, I'm like, this dude is on a mission. Like, he's somewhere else right now mentally. Like, he is about to take it to another level. And so when I saw that, I was just like, here we go. Like, this is going to be a show. I figured that. I knew that, seeing all the clips that we did, and you and I have spoken up about it, ad nauseum. And then for him to have literally his best game to date as a Hurricane in the biggest game he's ever played in as a Hurricane against arguably one of the best, if not the best offensive linemen that he's gone against as a Hurricane. He's a superstar. He's a bona fide superstar. He took over the game, 3 sacks, literally palmed the field goal and blocked it, threw it down on his own there. He's so electric. And what he means to this team cannot be understated. What he means to that community, the fact that he is a hometown, homegrown kid. I mean, this Miami team is a really big deal. And there's much more to accomplish, and there's much more to do. But that was unbelievable. And you talk about the rest of the stars. You bring up Keontae Scott. I mean, he was everywhere. Zero was everywhere
He
on
made
the
himself
field.
a lot of money, I think.
Ton of money. I mean, this guy's electric. Gets to the pass rusher, gets his hands on footballs, just a constant tackler, like did a great job containing. I thought Miami adjusted unbelievably well in the second half. They called some blitzes. Guys got a little selfish, guys got a little eager. And KG, the important thing about when you're rushing a active or mobile quarterback, you can't get out of contain and you can't get out of your gap. And there was 2 times I specifically remember where it looked like a guy was supposed to come through the B gap and he decided to go through the A gap, and guess where, quarterback, guess where he went? Straight through where that guy was supposed to go. So we almost saw Miami not or less aggressive, but not blitz. They just said, hey, you 4 up front, go get them. Make it happen. And we'll add some guys as we need to, or we'll spy guys and they'll attack as we need to. But they contained Marcell Reid great in the second half, and obviously forced him into 3 turnovers. 1 was sack, fumble, and 2 interceptions there. So I was thrilled with what I saw from those guys. And to see Mesidor have one of his best games. I mean, he got pressure on like 50% of his rushes. I mean, it was nuts to see that guy just go out there and win. The young buck with 2 picks, the freshman DB there.
Fitzgerald,
incredible. Yeah, Fitzgerald, incredible. Just to see
D-Money
these
brought
guys.
him up, by the way, remember? D-Money knows all.
Yeah, he does. D-Money does know all. And then even, the big, collision by number 1 at the end where he hurt himself. But I mean, that's a game.
That was scary. But it was huge,
play.
Massive play, yeah.
Yeah. So, guys just universally stepped up. I don't think we can't give Coach Corey Heatherman enough credit for what he's done.
I was going to say.
The talent acquisitions, the scheme, the simplification of it all. I thought him coming in, I thought a year ago, which I love Coach G from a defensive coordinator perspective, but and we've said this for a year, I don't think he knew what he had. He still had the G5 mindset of, I've got to trick people, I've got to overload, I've got to blitz, I've got to do all these different things, where Heatherman's like, I've got monsters, go get them. We'll figure it out on the back end. We'll create chaos back here. You 4 up front, and maybe we add a 5th, get them. Like, just figure it out. And so they've thrived in that. And I thought they did an unbelievable job. The lowest, point total in the new college football playoff to not score a touchdown, to hold this electric, explosive, unbelievable team, offense and defense, to 3 points was unbelievable. I mean, I can't give the Canes enough credit for what they did.
Incredible performance. And like we said, we'll have a lot more coming on Miami, Ohio State coming up after Christmas.
That is such like a childhood core
battle.
memory, those 2 playing.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And the fact that I get to go cover that in Texas is nuts. There's few times where I'm like this giddy. Obviously, covering Clemson in a national championship, but this is up there because of the two brands.
So cool, Mac. Well, we appreciate you giving us the insight of being on the field there in College Station. And I do have to go call a basketball game, but we will have
You
a
get out
lot
of here.
more coming.
Come
A
on.
lot more coming down the pike.
I can't wait. It's going to be a ton of fun. Y'all lock in. We're going to have some more, like KG said. Cannot wait to bring you some stuff. And you know what? We got to get the Malik Cat on here. We're going after him. Cam, if you hear this or see this,
need it.
We're calling Tony. All right. We're getting him on here. So appreciate you guys. Let's go Canes. Let's ride it out. It's going to be fun. Until next time, we'll see y'all.